Once upon a time, in a remote village far from the towering skylines of Mumbai, there lived a boy named Ravi. Born into poverty, he had little more than dreams to keep him company. His father toiled as a farmer, barely making enough to feed the family, while his mother stitched clothes for the village women. For as long as he could remember, Ravi yearned for more than the small patch of land they lived on, more than the meager meals, and more than the endless days under the scorching sun. From a young age, he heard stories about Mumbai, the city of dreams, where skyscrapers touched the sky and fortunes were made overnight. The city seemed to offer an escape from the cycle of poverty, a place where anyone could reinvent themselves and build a new life. With nothing but a small bag and a burning hope in his heart, Ravi made his decision. Chapter 1: A Dream Turns Dark. Ravi arrived in Mumbai with stars in his eyes, but it didn't take long for those stars to dim. The streets of the city were not paved with gold, as he had imagined, but with struggle. He knocked on countless doors looking for work, but it seemed every opportunity required connections he didn't have. With no money, no shelter, and no way back home, Ravi found himself at the mercy of the city's darker side. That's when he met Suraj, a street-smart man who immediately recognized the desperation in Ravi's eyes. Suraj worked for a local drug cartel, involved in everything from petty extortion to more serious crime. He lured Ravi into the world of the underworld with promises of quick cash and a sense of belonging. At first, Ravi resisted. He had always been a good-hearted boy, with dreams of making an honest living. But the harsh reality of his circumstances left him little choice. He hadn't eaten in days, and there was no one left to turn to. With a heavy heart, Ravi took his first step into the world of crime. The work was dirty. Delivering drugs, collecting protection money, and running errands for the local gang members became his new reality. But with each job, Ravi earned more money than he had ever seen in his life. The guilt gnawed at him, but the money made survival possible, and survival was all he could think about. Chapter 2: A Glimmer of Hope. Months passed, and Ravi became a trusted member of the gang. But with each day, he sank deeper into a life he despised. Despite the luxurious clothes, the flashy motorcycles, and the respect he now commanded, Ravi's heart remained heavy. He had come to Mumbai to build a life for himself, not destroy others' lives. And as much as he tried to silence the voice inside him, it always reminded him of the boy he used to be. One night, during a routine delivery at a lavish party hosted by his boss, Ravi's life took a sudden turn. That's when he saw her, Sonia. She was sitting on a balcony, far away from the raucous crowd, looking out at the city lights. Sonia was stunning, with dark flowing hair, almond-shaped eyes, and a quiet grace that set her apart from everyone else. Something about her drew Ravi in, though he couldn't place what it was. As the night progressed, Ravi learned that Sonia was no ordinary girl. She was the younger sister of Vikas, the ruthless leader of the drug cartel Ravi worked for. Vikas had built an empire of fear and intimidation, and Sonia was fiercely protected by her brother and his henchmen. But as fate would have it, Sonia and Ravi's paths crossed that night. Ravi couldn't resist talking to her. They spoke in hushed tones, away from the eyes of the gang members. Sonia, like Ravi, had her own dreams of escaping the life she was born into. She had always despised her brother's world and longed for a life of freedom. Her family's wealth and status meant little to her, all she wanted was to live simply and honestly. Ravi, too, shared his own story, the boy who had come to Mumbai with hope in his heart, only to be swallowed by the city's cruelty. That night, something shifted between them. In each other, they found solace, understanding, and perhaps a way out. Chapter 3: Love Amidst Chaos. Over the following weeks, Ravi and Sonia began meeting in secret. They met in shadowed alleys and empty cafes, far from the prying eyes of Vikas's men. For the first time in months, Ravi felt alive again. Sonia's presence was like a balm for his tortured soul, and her laughter, her kindness, and her dreams gave him hope. But with each secret meeting, they knew they were walking on dangerous ground. If Vikas ever found out about their relationship, it wouldn't just be Ravi's life at risk, it would be Sonia's too. Vikas was fiercely possessive of his sister, and his men were always watching her. Every day, the danger grew, but so did their love. They dreamed of escaping Mumbai together, leaving behind the world of drugs, violence, and corruption. Ravi wanted to go back to the boy he used to be, the one who believed in honesty and hard work. Sonia wanted to live a life free from her brother's control. They spoke of running away to a distant town, starting fresh, and building a life based on love and trust, but the more they planned, the more impossible it seemed. Vikas was powerful, with eyes and ears all over the city. Escaping him would require careful planning, courage, and luck, three things they were quickly running out of. Chapter 4: The Escape Plan. One night, Ravi overheard something that sent a chill down his spine. Vikas's men were becoming suspicious of Sonia's sudden disappearances. One of the gang members had seen her with Ravi on more than one occasion, and rumors had started to circulate. It was only a matter of time before the truth reached Vikas. Ravi knew they had to act fast. He and Sonia devised a plan to escape the city that coming weekend. They would take the first train out of Mumbai at dawn, leaving behind everything they had ever known. Sonia had some money saved up, and Ravi would sell his bike to gather the rest. It wasn't much, but it would be enough to start over in a small town far from the reach of Vikas's men. The night before their escape, Ravi couldn't sleep. The weight of what they were about to do pressed down on him like a storm. If they were caught, there would be no mercy. He thought of his family back in the village, of his old life before all this madness, and of the future he could have with Sonia. It was all or nothing now. Chapter 5: The Chase. The morning of their escape, Ravi and Sonia arrived at the train station just before dawn. The platform was eerily quiet, with only a few early travelers scattered around. They clutched their tickets tightly, waiting anxiously for the train to arrive. But just as the train pulled into the station, Ravi saw something that made his heart stop. In the distance, Vikas's men were approaching. They had found them. "Run!" Ravi yelled, grabbing Sonia's hand as they bolted through the crowd. The gang members shouted, giving chase as Ravi and Sonia weaved through the narrow alleys behind the station. Their lungs burned as they ran, but they couldn't stop. They had come too far to give up now. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they found themselves on the outskirts of the city. There, in the distance, they saw a bus heading out of town. It was their only chance. Without a second thought, they ran towards it, jumping aboard just as it pulled away from the curb. As the bus rolled out of Mumbai, leaving the city and its dangers behind, Ravi and Sonia sat in silence, holding each other tightly. They had made it. They were free. Chapter 6: A New Beginning. The small town they settled in was nothing like Mumbai. It was quiet, peaceful, and far removed from the chaos of the city. Ravi found work as a mechanic, while Sonia started teaching children in a local school. They lived in a modest house, with no luxury or riches, but they had something far more valuable: peace. Their love, forged in the fires of danger and desperation, only grew stronger in the calm of their new life. They knew they could never fully escape the shadows of their past, but they had each other, and that was enough. Every night, as they sat together on their porch, looking out at the stars, Ravi would remind himself of how far he had come. He had left behind the boy who was lost in the streets of Mumbai and had found himself again in the love of a girl who had once seemed out of reach. Their story was not one of fairy tales or happy endings, it was one of survival, of love that defied the odds, and of two souls who found freedom in each other. And that, they knew, was the greatest dream of all.